Are you ready to dive into Hollywood's dark secrets? In this video, we'll be uncovering shocking new information about the tragic death of legendary actor Errol Flynn. Despite being one of the most magnetic actors of his day, Flynn's dying days were surrounded by mystery and controversy. But with these latest revelations, we may be getting closer to the truth. So strap in and prepare to learn the untold story of Errol Flynn's end. Errol Leslie Thompson Flynn, born on June 20th, 1909, was an Australian-American actor who rose to international prominence during Hollywood's golden age. He was noted for his romantic swashbuckler performances, many collaborations with Olivia de Havilland, and a reputation for womanizing and living a hedonistic lifestyle. His most prominent roles include the titular hero in The Adventures of Robin Hood, which was later ranked as the 18th greatest hero in American film history by the American Film Institute. Errol Flynn died as he lived, with a drink in his palm and a braggadocious swagger in his voice. Just days before his body gave out, the swashbuckler was bragging to onlookers about his sexual adventures, including how he didn't apologize for allegedly dating a girl who was young. However, behind the surface, the performer was a shell of his former self. Flynn's best years were over, and he was sick and broke. He died while he was on a trip to sell one of his favorite things to make money. Furthermore, an autopsy would find that the actor died at the comparatively young age of 50 as a result of his lifestyle of partying, drinking, and probably even heroin addiction. By 1946, Flynn had enough money to buy the 118-foot boat Zaka. It seemed natural for his brand that he would buy such a boat. His mother's side of the family were seafaring folk, and he even claimed, without evidence, to be descended from HMS Bounty mutineers in his memoirs. Of course, he represented pirates and sailors on television, and he was known to enjoy boats in the water. For all intents and purposes, it was a match made in heaven. Flynn's financial status had deteriorated by 1959. According to the National Post, his film career had stalled, with one specific flop proving to be a catastrophic loss. Flynn was compelled to schedule a plane ticket to Vancouver, British Columbia in order to sell his cherished yacht to buyer Georgie Caldo. Flynn wasn't about to let the fact that he was broke and sick detract from his public image when he landed in Vancouver. The actor excelled at many things, the most notable of which was self-promotion and a resolute refusal to apologize for who he was. The suspected relationship with Beverly Adland, who traveled to Vancouver with him and hadn't yet turned 18, was on the minds of the Canadian journalists on that particular day. Adland was not the only young female to allegedly warm Flynn's bed, and when a reporter asked him why he seemed to be regularly in the presence of adolescent girls, his reaction was harsh and unapologetic, according to the National Post. Flynn continued to advertise himself as a wealthy Lothario in the hours before his death. Flynn was regaling Vancouver society with tales of globe-trotting swashbuckling while holding a drink in his hand and speaking in his trademark highbrow accent. Flynn, for his part, would later explain in his posthumously published autobiography, My Wicked, Wicked Ways, that he recognized he had become a symbol rather than a man. I had by now made about 45 pictures, but what had I become? A phallic symbol was all too familiar to me. As a name and personality, I was associated with sex all over the world, he wrote. There was no denying the truth that Flynn was a shell of what he had once been by the time he arrived in Vancouver. Onlookers observed his disheveled appearance, which contrasted sharply with the dashing, gorgeous image that had made him famous decades before. According to Monte Cristo magazine, the actor had a long list of ailments. A lifetime of heavy drinking had resulted in liver cirrhosis. He also suffered from malaria on a regular basis, had 2 heart attacks, and had chronic back pain that allegedly he medicated with heroin. On the afternoon of October 14, 1959, Flynn and Adland were returning to the airport when he began complaining of pain, which would eventually lead to his 3rd and final heart attack. He was shortly driven to Dr. Grant Gould's house. A short time later, Flynn requested to be left alone, and Adland discovered him unresponsive. Later that evening, he was pronounced dead. An autopsy would find that he died of a myocardial infarction caused by coronary thrombosis and arteriosclerosis, with fatty liver degeneration and portal cirrhosis of the liver identified as substantial enough to be regarded as contributory factors in his death. Vancouver coroner Glenn MacDonald later wrote, "At the time, I thought it was a shameful end for a famous movie star, but such is life, that's death." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. And we'll see you in our next video.